Soulful shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, just some soulful shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hear me. Woo! I mean, like, we can put all that clown shit away. There's some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Welcome back to the channel, people. Make sure you are smashing the like, sharing and subscribing. And today we're going to be taking a look at a German, I don't even want to call him a prospect because he's far from a prospect. He is the real deal, one of the best players to come out of Germany in the last few years, and looks like he will go on to be one of the best players in world football, and that is Florian Wirtz. So as you guys know, over the last few days, weeks, and to be honest, this has been something that's been spoken about, you know, over the last year, I would say, especially since Bayern Leverkusen went on to win the Bundesliga, and he was one of the most important players of that team, and that is potential move to Manchester City. Apparently, Pep Guardiola wants to make him the prime player to replace the outgoing Belgian legend that is Kevin De Bruyne. Of course, as we guys already know, as you know, because of the video that I did recently speaking about Kevin De Bruyne leaving the football club at the end of the season. Absolutely wonderful player, had an absolutely brilliant career at Manchester City, but he will be on the way out. And of course, like anything in life, you have to move on. So Manchester City will be looking at potential replacements in the summer transfer market, and Florian Wirtz has been one of those names who have been touted to be able to replace the Belgian, even though it will be a very, very tough ask, you know, following in the footsteps of probably one of the greatest players of this generation, heck, one of the best players to ever have played in the Premier League history in its entirety. It's going to be a tough ask, but of course, Florian Wirtz, I guess, is no stranger to those kind of challenges, and looks like could be a player who could potentially fulfill those boots. So what kind of player, you know, is a Florian Wirtz, and why potentially would Manchester City look towards the young German? Now, he's an attacking midfielder, as we know, someone who can operate in those wide areas, can also operate as an inverted winger in some formations, in some systems, of course, that Bayern Leverkusen might play, you know, potentially a 3-4-2-1, or, you know, a variation of a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, you know, Bayern Leverkusen, Xabi Alonso, you know, they've got different ways in which they can play, and he's someone who I would look at as almost a bit of a dynamic kind of attacking midfielder. He can cover quite a bit of ground. He can be used also as a striker or a false nine, which he has done so under Xabi Alonso. So again, you know, that kind of midfielder, those kind of players with really good IQ would definitely be players, I believe, that Pep Guardiola would definitely look at to be able to help replace someone like Kevin De Bruyne. Now, as I mentioned before, we're talking about, you know, someone potentially coming in to replace a Kevin De Bruyne, you know, someone who could pick the ball up in almost any area of the pitch, you know, and find his man, someone whose football IQ was absolutely top notch, someone who really understood the game, really understood what Pep Guardiola was asking of him from the moment he came in, of course, until the day that he eventually does actually leave Manchester City. You can see that the team needed someone like a Kevin De Bruyne, someone who could make things tick when the team needed that, someone who could pull a rabbit out of a hat, but someone who also understood the other side of the game, you know, the other side of the game that not many players want to do, especially attacking players, you know, like a Florian Wirtz, a Kevin De Bruyne. Those type of individuals never get spoken about, you know, for their off the ball work. It's always about what they can do on the ball. But if you actually watch them play, you will understand, especially because of the managers that they play under, that their off the ball work is equally as important as on the ball. Of course, on the ball is just where they're able to showcase, you know, the top range skills that they do actually have. Now, of course, listen, when we're talking about someone like Florian Wirtz, you know, elegant, dynamic attacking midfielder, and again, it's his exceptional technical ability, his vision, his creativity. That's what he's really, really known for. And I would say that his kind of style of play is probably characterized by probably someone who's really good in terms of positioning. He's quite intelligent, his movement off the ball. Again, as I mentioned before, you know, that's going to always be a key in a Pep Guardiola side. It's not just about what you do on the ball, because a lot of their play does require that real excellent, you know, off the ball movement. And, you know, someone like Wirtz also, he has got that natural flair for, you know, for exploiting space. He can often drift between the lines, you know, to try and receive the ball, and he can transition from defense to attack. And I feel that he might not be an exact copy of a Kevin De Bruyne, but what he will be is, I feel, almost like a new age version of that. Of course, there's going to be comparisons, and it's totally understandable, but we also need to understand that football and players develop and move on throughout time. And I feel someone with, you know, the kind of fluid dribbling and, you know, composure that he's got in these forward areas, he's quite adept at linking up play, you know, both with short and long passing range, you know, that he's got, you know, in his locker. He's very good when he links up with players like Boniface or Stick, you know, up front. You know, he can do that. So Haaland or Marmoush or whoever's up front, you know, for Manchester City, I don't feel like there'd be any major issues, you know. And again, someone who's very, very young. He's only 21 years of age, but he has this maturity on the ball. You know, his decision making is of someone who's 28, 29, and has been playing the game of football for, you know, eons of years. And I feel that these are the kind of characteristics, these are the kind of attributes that I feel would make him an absolutely brilliant player for, you know, arguably, if not the best manager in world football. And I feel, especially going into next season, you know, for someone like Pep Guardiola, you know, almost needing to kind of freshen up the team, freshen up the side, you know, potentially get a few of the elder statesmen, you know, I wouldn't say out of the team, you know, because they deserve the respect for being the team that they are, but just kind of moving the team on and moving the team forward. And Manchester City, of course, are known to have some of the best players in world football in their team. And I think Florian Wirtz, in my personal opinion, at this current stage in time, he's showcasing that he can be that type of individual. And I feel in a Manchester City team, whether it's off the left, whether it's, you know, behind the striker, whether it is as the false nine, whatever it is, I feel he'll be able to do what is required of him in that team. Could this be the key major signing for Manchester City to really spark, you know, their return to the top of the game? You know, this season hasn't really been the best in terms of their results, in terms of their performances, you know, performances from, you know, key players in their team, even players like Kevin De Bruyne. You know, I know he is leaving, and of course he will always be a legend of this game, but, you know, this season, you know, with the injuries and stuff that he has had, is it now time for players like a Florian Wirtz to come to the top of the table, you know, at a team like Manchester City, dine at the top and see what he can do in the Premier League? Is that the right move for them, or are there other players out there that people feel that, you know, should be, you know, at the top of Manchester City's to-do list? Let me know in the comment section, people. Do you think that Florian Wirtz should make the move, you know, to Manchester City? Should he potentially go to Bayern Munich, or also interested in the young German? And we already know when it does come to young German players, you know, all German players in general, you know, if they're doing really, really well, they do usually tend to move to a Bayern Munich at some point in their career. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section about this potential move for a Florian Wirtz.